applied behavior analysis, science of human behavior is the greatest science in the world, because what other science can help every other science?
If the behavioral technology could be embraced by so many other disciplines, in addition to education and autism, if it could just be embraced in so many other areas throughout the world, you could see so many people flourish through like Airless Learning, where people are just given a chance and they're given small steps and they're reinforced for these approximations instead of, like you said, kind of throwing someone to the wolves and expecting they're going to perform.
Man, I suppose, we're probably a little biased. I think you agree with me on this. Applied behavior analysis, science of human behavior is the greatest science in the world, because what other science can help every other science? And you cannot say that for anything else. We can help all the scientists perform better, and that's going to produce better outcomes for them. So, like, really, I just wish, and I think that we're starting to do a better job disseminating. People like you have come into the field, and like you're making it palatable to people. Guys like Aubrey Daniels, man, I love. That's what turned me on to OBM. I believe OBM makes it palatable to people. But really, it should be in everything. It should be in higher education. It should be in elementary school. Yeah. People should just understand. They don't have to all be behavior analysts, but just understanding some basic principles. Parenting would be better. Children would, yeah, man. There's some simple things, but we're starting to do better with it.
I think it's going in that direction. And say you're doing a functional analysis, and you want the individual first has to sample the tangible stimuli. Say you're doing an analog assessment that's experimental. They have to first sample the tangible stimuli to see that, to get a taste of it, and then remove it. So there's that establishing operation, or else that tangible stimuli didn't really have value. So if you think about it from a behavior analysis, doesn't do such a great job of meeting people where they are so they can sample it in a palatable way. And so I know it's my goal, and one of your goals is to just take the complex behavior analytic principles, make them relatable, and meet people where they are. So whatever it is that they're fascinated by, if you can take the science and give it in a usable bit that people understand to get them interested in it, then you can kind of start maneuvering them into the more nuanced areas of behavior science. It's kind of why we try to create this wide net, where behavior analysis, at first, it's not necessarily applying to a discussion. It's just extrapolation, discussion, and I'm talking about things from my personal experience, and I'm saying, top 10 ways you can tell, someone is envious of you, and it's not really rooted in behavior analysis, but it grabs their attention.
Sure.
And then there might be just one out of those 10 things that are behavior analytic in nature, and I'll clearly say it's not, but then what's cool is someone might be interested in that because that got their attention, and then they can funnel down into the hacking clinical channel, where we're all geeking out over the scientific principles, or maybe they can go into OBM, or they can go into fighting science like your stuff. And I think we really have to do a better job as scientists to meet people where they are, see what captures their interest, and then lead them to the area that's their niche.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear you saying is, and I agree with that 100%, you're not forcing people into it, you're reinforcing them into it, and you're getting them, you're giving that little hook, and that's that little reinforcement in there, and but let me learn a little bit more in that, and you're doing it through all these other things, but they're being drawn into the discussion. You're like, hey, there's this, by the way, that's rooted in science. Oh, shit, that's cool. Let me find out a little bit more about that. And that's what we need to do more with, So, embracing both sides. Obviously, we need academics to really inform, us, but we also need like the disseminators, so we can pull other people in and we can really help a lot of people with the science.
Once it's understood, embraced, and I just remember at West Virginia University, Dr. Ernest Vargas and Julie Vargas, I remember, I think one of them actually used the term that we were like the black sheep of the psych world when it came to behavior analysis. And I remember, I'm like, why? And then I started realizing how we spoke about it with all of our jargon, how it was a very closed-knit community with only us understanding the language and speaking in those terms to each other, and not necessarily branching out to embrace other disciplines, being closed-minded. And I just think that I see the science evolving into other areas, but it's definitely important to figure out what people care about in order to educate them. You need to get their attention and then see what area is interesting to them, because it's sort of like assuming that pizza is a reinforcer for everyone. A behavior analyst, knows that pizza just because I love it and a lot of people do, it doesn't mean it's reinforcement for that learner. It's just sort of like, why would we think that our fancy language and our rigid way of doing things is going to be reinforcing to the cognitive psychologist or the counseling psychologist or a sports psychologist? We have to meet them where they are.